Hello everybody, Roger here again, and today I'm going to be harvesting the various teas that I harvest and dry out so that we have tea to make throughout the winter. And I'm going to, let's go harvest some tea. So let's get at her. So this here is chamomile, and it grows quite tall, and it has these flowers. And when you're going to harvest chamomile, you only harvest the flower, and you leave the buds and the stems behind. So to harvest them, you would just either put them between your fingers like this and just pull up, and just take that little stem off, and you could just pinch it off and it lands perfectly in your bucket. And you have to pick them by hand. And you also want to pick these when the flowers are fully extended out like this. So it says in the instructions I've ever read, it says to do it midday after the morning dew has dehydrated from the sun and the flowers are completely open. And you just pick the flowers like this. I'm sure there's faster ways about doing it, so take your time. There is no rush. Here you could see some flowers that are still in the bud form. You only want to pick the flowers that are fully blooming, and you just give it a little pinch and twist and the stem could come right off just like that. So if you were to just grab the flower and just tilt it on its side like this and pull up, and a little flick, and you can see the stem comes right off. I got a bit of flowers here. I'll show you them in the sun, and I'm gonna lay them flat. So to dry chamomile, you would get a flat surface here. I'm gonna use a jam box, like a jam jar box, and you lay some paper towel down flat in the box. And I did one plant of chamomile here, and you just dump the flowers in, and you just lay them out flat, about only one layer. You don't want them piling on top of each other, and you would just lay them on top of the paper towel, nice flat. I'll probably need a couple boxes because you only want one layer. You don't want any flowers laying on top of each other, like it's just said. And you don't want to rinse them because you'll get the essential oils. You'll wash away the essential oils, so you might see some little bugs crawling on these flower buds, and those will just take off and leave. You don't want to keep this in your house, of course, otherwise you'll have those little bugs eating your house plants. So just leave this somewhere flat and dry and dark, and let them dry. So for me, a dry, dark, and warm place is our back porch where our washing machine is. So I'm just gonna lay these just as they are in this box and put a layer of paper towel on there to keep them clean. And I'll check these every once in a while and give them a little bit of a stir so that any of the moisture trapped between flowers that may overlap can escape. And within maybe a couple weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, about a month, they'll be fully dry, and you can put them into nice dry jars, store them, make tea. So I'm back up here in the upper lot rhubarb patch. As you can see, all that weed whacking I did a couple weeks back now. Well, maybe about a month ago actually. And all the weeds are grown back again. So I'm gonna have to come back here and do some weed whacking again. You can see these beautiful patch of blue flowers in here. But today I'm going to go up here and harvest some mint. So way up here in the upper corner of the rhubarb patch, I got all this mint. This is all chocolate mint. Up beside this nice rock here. And this is what I'm going to be harvesting. A nice patch of mint. So I'm up here in the upper lot rhubarb patch, and this volunteer plant that in a previous video I thought would turn out to be a blueberry. It looks like it's got this bunch of red berries, or a flower bud it looks like, that's going to pop out. And I'm not sure what this is, so if anyone out there knows what this is, please let me know. Do you know what it is, Mom?
Not really, no. Is it berries or is it a flower?
It's a flower.
Yeah. Fancy. Brown. Yeah. Your weeds are sure doing good. Wow. Okay.
Let's harvest some mint. So this is a nice, great big patch of chocolate mint, and it makes really good tea. So I'm just gonna harvest these and show you what we do with it. So what I do is I take the scissors and then I just grab a bunch of them like this, and I go down below the leaf, or maybe even leave one or two leaves on there, and just snip the stems. And then I get a bunch like this and I throw it in the box. You're harvesting mint, one thing to take note of is you want to harvest it before it starts to flower. And as you can see here, none of these are flowering, so it's perfect for harvest. So again, I wouldn't rinse these off. You can if they're dirty, but I know these are all clean. And if there's any bugs, again, they're going to leave. Mostly bugs don't live on mint because they don't like the smell, so you won't see too many bugs on them besides maybe the occasional spit bug. And whenever you come across that, you could just pinch off the leaf, throw it away, be done with it. So my setup here is I got the mint in the boxes, I got a tray full of elastics, and then I got my bundles I'm going to throw into this tote and then take them in the house to string them up. So I just want to do a quick inspection of the leaves, make sure there's no bugs or anything on them. If there's something that's brown, I mean, that's keepable, but I mean, you could throw that away. So when you're harvesting mint, it's best to put all the stems facing one direction, because then you can just grab a bundle like this and they're pretty much all in line. Give them. I got a nice tote full of bundles of mint here, so let's go hang them up. And here we have all the mint strung up in the kitchen, and it's gonna stay here for at least a month. And you'll know when it's ready because the leaves will be nice and crispy. And it's been a few days here as the mint's hanging. And they're still flexible and still got moisture to them. But they'll start drying out and shrink. You can see here the chamomile is starting to dry up. And they'll just come in here and separate the little bundles at least once a day. Stop them from bunching up here and there. As they're drying out, I could smell them. They're pretty strong smelling. And there's more flowers out there, so if I want to harvest some more, I can. And it's berry picking time, so the first round of berries is going to be our raspberries. They're a little late coming out this year, so there's not too many raspberries to pick, but we're heading into July here, and we're past the summer solstice, so the berries are going to start to ripen. The first ones we're going to pick here today are going to be the huckleberries, as the birds are starting to get at my patch. So let's go pick some huckleberries. I'll show you how we do it. My old-fashioned huckleberry picker here. And yeah. So I just wanted to show you a close-up of this old-fashioned huckleberry picker. You can see there's a gate in the front, and that closes, stopping the berries from pouring out when you dump it like this. And then you got your screen down here that lets most of the leaves from falling out of here and the berries stay inside. And then you have the teeth in the front, this grill, and that goes in between the little branches and plucks the berries off, and they roll down in here, and any leaves you catch fall out. And that's how you pick huckleberries. And these pickers are from Finland. They were bought a long time ago. You used to buy them from a a catalog called LLBean, and I think they're called Maya or something like that on the back. These are the modern huckleberry pickers that you could get at some hardware stores these days. Similar idea, there's no gate to stop the berries from falling out. There's just like a little wall in there. And then you have your teeth. However, these teeth are made out of brittle plastic, so you could easily break these off. And you only need to break one tooth, and then the whole thing's kind of useless. It looks like it's made in such a way that you could replace the grill, but I don't think you could just buy these grills anywhere. So these are the modern ones. Preferably the metal ones are the best. You're gonna look back at one of these old Finnish berry pickers, these metal ones. Back in the day, my uncle, Leslie Langfist, my dad, Davy Langfist's brother, he used to make huckleberry pickers, homemade huckleberry pickers out of tin cans. And he would weld little nails to the front of it, and you just scoop into the tin cans. Similar idea. Think of a soup can, a big soup can, or like a tomato can with some nails welded to the front. You would just scoop your berries. I'll show you how these work. Equipment I have here, berry picker. You want a berry picker because picking huckleberries by hand, it would take you forever. And a bucket, ice cream bucket. These old-fashioned ice cream buckets are best because they're heavy duty and they have a metal handle, and a string to tie it around your neck. And you can see there's a robin. Often we get sparrows too. There's a robin right now up in that tree. And they will start eating all the huckleberries if you don't get at it and start picking. You can see that bush over there with the red berries. Those are the huckleberries. That's what we're going to be picking right now. I'm also going to pick a round of raspberries. They're ripening late, but there is a few raspberries here to pick, so I'll be picking some of those too. Loganberries ripen a little later into summer, so I have about a month or more away before there's going to be any berries to pick here. But I just noticed I got some chicken eggs down here that I got to collect because there's a hen nesting in here. This is red huckleberry, Vaccinium parvifolium. And it grows wild along the coast of British Columbia. But these plants were planted here by my parents a very long time ago and are well-established bushes that we harvest every year. And it's time to start picking because the birds are in my bushes right now as I speak. See, the berries are weighing down the branches here. So you just grab a branch like this, you take the teeth and you scoop underneath gently underneath the branch like so, and then it clicks inside the berries. It's just a handful of berries in here so far because I just got started, but that's the gist of things. And the more gentler you are with your combing of the branches, the less leaves you'll get into your bucket or your scooper. But you always are going to be picking berries or leaves out of your berries afterwards anyways. Now I could have waited a little longer before I picked the red huckleberries on our bushes, but the birds are already starting to get at the berries, so I want to get what I can, but there is going to be some green ones, and you want to throw out the green ones, and I'll show you later once I'm at the sorting phase of picking these berries. And it's just a slow, relaxing thing. If you were doing this by hand, though, it'd be a lot slower. Now, I just want to say, unfortunately, we don't have one of these old-fashioned homemade huckleberry pickers anymore. Otherwise, I'd show one to you. But I do believe there is one at the Sointala Museum, and if I ever head that way, I will try and find it and show you what they look like. Another thing to note when you're picking huckleberries, because you're probably going to be on the mainland or on Vancouver Island picking them. For me, I'm on Malcolm Island, but on Vancouver Island, when I go picking huckleberries, you have mosquitoes and horseflies and all deer flies and those kind of nasty buggers biting you all the time, so you want to wear long sleeves. Also, there's the chances that you could get ticks out in the forest, so you want to wear long sleeves as well. However, here on Malcolm Island, ticks are more rare, so I'm not as worried about getting ticks here as I would if I were picking berries on Vancouver Island. Now I'll just open the gate here and show you. I got a few berries on the inside of the scooper here, and they're not falling out of the mesh. But the leaves, see, the leaves fall between the meshes and come out. If you lift up the branch, you'll see it's quite heavy with berries. And you take your comb and you go gently underneath, and it just combs through the bush, gets all those out, and it collects them inside. You can give it a little shake, and the leaves will come out. Now, usually from huckleberries, you only pick it once in a season, so this is probably going to be the only time I pick it. When I'm picking, I'm also picking the green ones, so usually you don't get any more ripe after that. And I want to get these berries before the birds get them all on me. So sometimes when you're picking these out in the forest, like there's a couple good spots we have, and we go back there the next year and then there's nothing. Bears tend to love them. We don't have to worry about bears here on Malcolm Island, but over on Vancouver Island, bears will eat the huckleberries. So if they find the patch that year, well, chances are you're not going to get any berries there. So sometimes it's our own personal berry patch, and that's all we get for a year. Then when I feel that the scooper is starting to get full, I get the bucket here. I just put my hand in the gate to fold it back and dump them into the bucket. And the gate closes back up, and inside are the berries. And later on, once I get a full bucket or I'm done picking the berries, might get a couple buckets here. Once I'm done, I'll go in and sort these, which means picking out any leaves and green ones that are in here, and you'll see that as I go along. Now, another thing you want to be careful of when you're picking huckleberries, especially in your own personal patch, is you don't want to bend the branches over too far, because they will snap, and it takes years for that bush to get established like this, so you don't want to break too many of your branches. So just lightly curl them over so that you can get the ones that are way up above your head, and just comb through it. Try not to stress the bush out too much, because it is, as you can see here, really easy to break it off, and it'll take a long time for it to grow new branches. So try not to do that. Look at those for some nice dandy raspberries, bigger than my thumbnail. Now with raspberries, you could get several rounds of picking in a season. As you can see here, there's a nice bunch of small little raspberries. The small raspberries are the wild raspberries, and the nice plump juicy ones are the heritage raspberries. Now you could also see there's some unripened berries amongst the ripe ones. So once I pick the ripe ones in a few days, the unripened ones will start to ripen and you could get another round of picking. And the season's just started. Our raspberries are all everbearing, which means they'll produce throughout the season or else in June and into the fall are the seasons for raspberries. Also, if you see any dead raspberries like this one that's gone moldy, you just want to pluck those off and throw them away and just wipe your hands a bit so you don't spread that. If you leave it on the bush, that mold will spread to the other ripe berries and the unripened berries and ruin your crop. Usually when there's mold on the berries, it means that the ripe berries got wet after a rain, and then they'll start to go moldy. So now we got our bucket full of the freshly picked huckleberries here, and I'm just going to go around and pick off the leaves like so and just throw them out onto the ground, and any green berries. So I'm looking for leaves and green berries, throw them out. And this is what it looks like once you've removed all the raw berries and the leaves. Nice bucket full of huckleberries here. Now, if you were going to be eating these or making a pudding or stew or something out of them or putting them in muffins, you'd put 4 cups in a bag, like a medium-sized bag. But I'm going to be juicing these and turning them into a jam or a jelly. So I'm just going to put all of these into one great big bag. Hopefully it all fits. And then it goes into the freezer until I'm ready to make jam and jelly in the fall and winter. Alright, that's all I got to say for today. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video. Alright, ciao.